Hey everyone, what's up? It's Brandon Lord. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, it's the Accounting Diaries, episode 2. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about fixed assets. And before I get started, I know what you guys are thinking. Why is Brandon dressed so good? What's with this cute top? It's Easter, so happy Easter. And I'm filming this before I have to go to my brother's. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about fixed assets. And I mentioned this in episode 1 because it does kind of bleed into what I was discussing about ERP implementation. I've been dealing a lot with fixed assets in my new job and trying to reclass things and get the fixed assets listing put together for 2021, or finalized I should say, because my boss kind of did a lot of the groundwork before me coming on a few months ago. But you know, I've been trying to figure out what was going on, finalize some things for 2021, and just see what this all is, because it's a bit of a mess, because there's just so much fixed assets and so much going on. There's the ERP implementation where there was a lot that was in QuickBooks and some that was in BC. It's a mess, but it's fine. I feel like I actually now have a good footing on it, and it's nearing the end, and I feel good about it. But with that being said, fixed assets, it's a funny thing, because I feel like since starting my accounting career, I've never been able to escape it. And this is why. At my previous company, I came in as an accounting associate, and the main thing was fixed assets. And putting assets into service in the Oracle system, finding all the information, processing disposals, transfers, adjustments, all that good stuff, and putting together the asset addition packages, so it was very fixed assets heavy. However, it was kind of prompted with, oh, it's fixed assets now, but eventually you'll move on to other things. And that did happen at one point because we hired a new accounting associate, I want to say a year into me having my first job, I think, something around that. And when they got hired, they took on more of the fixed assets, and I took on a more what's the word? Supervisory role, I guess, kind of. I think that would make sense. I kind of would review them, but I wasn't putting the stuff together and all that fun stuff. I got to step away from it, and it was nice. But then my coworker ended up quitting, and I got stuck with them again. And it was fine, because I had been familiar with it, all good. I pretty much knew what to do and all that fun stuff. And I was just at some point though, move on, and soon fixed assets will be a thing of the past. 3 years later, I was still doing fixed assets to my last day at my old job. So, it was fine, but I was definitely excited with a new job, kind of learning other things and getting experience with other accounting things that weren't fixed assets and all that. Even though when I was job searching, there were a lot of fixed assets, focused roles. And I was kind of looking into them because, I really wanted to get a new job, and I was just well, I know fixed assets a lot. I've been doing it pretty heavily for 4 years now, so this may be if I really want to find a job now, these may be the jobs that I could get maybe the quickest, and that could be the best, and I would be good at, so I don't know. But overall, I did want to learn other things. So, when I had the interview for my current job I have, it was for more of a revenue type role, which I liked because it was something new. At my previous company, I didn't really deal with revenue all that much. So I was oh, this will be exciting, dealing with the more sales, AR side of things. I am doing that and working with that a lot now and getting to know it a lot more. However, when it came to the part of the interview where I'm talking about my past, what I've done in accounting and my experience and all that, I did mention fixed assets, because it's a main thing, it's on my resume, there's no hiding it. My boss was just oh, well that is interesting because there's a lot to do with fixed assets, and I've been working on the roll forward, but I kind of wanted to push it off to someone else, so that could be a good thing to use your expertise. And I was just yeah, totally. I have so much experience, all the fixed assets, yes. So when I ended up getting my job, I actually got hired as a staff accountant as opposed to a revenue accountant, because they were like, oh, you've had so much experience and this way you'll get to do like different things and not just be focused on this. And honestly, I was excited for it because I wanted to learn new things and all that. Didn't get to escape fixed assets, but it's fine. It's been a struggle, as I said previously, getting all the 2021 stuff together, making sure we have everything on the fixed assets listing, kind of harkening back to my ERP implementation video. I've been going through the fixed assets account the past couple days and like making sure that everything that's in the certain fixed asset account is like correct and doesn't need to be transferred. There's a lot of different entries because, you know, with the coding of what it was in QuickBooks and then where it got coded to based off that in BC, but then it needed a reclass, but then it was a reclass back to something else, and then it was just like this wild goose chase. It's just been very time consuming, which is fine. It's something to do and like it makes the time pass, and I'd rather spend a lot of time with things and like get it right and make sure it's all good and that I understand everything. Because now, when I first saw the fixed assets like listing and roll forward, I was just like, what is going on? Like there were so many different things and different tabs. I'm like, I don't get this. But kind of looking at each account and seeing what like comprises each total, I was able to like make more sense of things. It was all coming together for me. You know, I have a love-hate with fixed assets. Like I said, I haven't been able to get rid of them. But for the most part, because I've been doing it for so many years, I do feel like I've sort of mastered it in a lot of ways. And like, I'm like good at it. And like, it's something I just understand, like I know what to do. And like, I've grown in appreciation for them. And it just can be annoying, like with fixed assets, because there's so many like minute things you really need to like get together before you like put an asset into service or decide what to do with the asset. Is the asset the total cost of the invoice? Is it only a part of the cost? Are we going to be expensing freight? Will we include this service as part of the asset cost? Did this person approve this purchase? Is this actually in service? When we bought the asset, did we put it into service right away or was it kind of waiting? Should it be in CIP? Should we start depreciating now? Do we have the correct in-service date? Do we know when it's expected to be put into service? Do we need to depreciate with 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, something 7 years? I don't know. So many different things. Just so many. It's just so many different things that you have to like do and take into account. It can be a bit, what's the word? Tedious sometimes? I don't know. But I will say, to compliment my new company though, I've been reaching out to a lot of people like to see about older fixed assets, to see like, oh, did it go into service like by 2021? Like, should it be put into CIP for that? Or like, should we actually like put it into service and start depreciating? Everyone I've had to reach out to, like the engineers and everything, they like respond and they're like very nice and they're just like, oh yeah, no, I would say around this time, like, you know, and this is for this, like this specific asset was put into this location. That's another thing I forgot, fixed assets, where was it located? Very responsive, very helpful, and then they'll be like, let me know if you need anything else. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice, because at my previous company, it was not like that. It was like, you had to pull teeth just to get people to respond. If like, should this be put into service? When was this disposed of? And like just following up and sending all these emails and they like wouldn't respond, or if you like sent like multiple questions in the email like, oh, was this put into service? And if so, like what date was it put into service? And then they just respond, yes, it was put into service. Okay. So what date was it put into service, sir? So, my new company, great. Just so responsive, so nice, so helpful, love. Other company, some people would be helpful. I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people were not. I will say with my new company too, it's like, although I'm like still doing fixed assets as part of my job, and I've done that for so many years now, it is a bit different kind of, because a lot of the assets are like machines and I'm able to kind of see them like in the warehouse and all that. So it's kind of cool and you kind of get to see like what actually the asset is and like how it works and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool, it's fun. So that's pretty much all I have to say about fixed assets. Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship. Fixed assets have been a big part of my accounting career, and I almost feel like I'd feel weird if I didn't have to do anything with fixed assets at this point. I can't quit fixed assets, or fixed assets can't quit me. Not quite sure yet which one it is. But with that being said, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 2 of the Accounting Diaries, and stay tuned for next week for episode 3. Talk to y'all later. Bye!